evening, fellow Toastmasters, Chief Chairperson, and our welcome guest. Tonight, I'm going to share with you 3 events that had a profound impact on my life. So let's call these events bombs, because each of them exploded and took out large chunks out of my self-esteem. So these events, the interesting thing about them is that they weren't anything rare or unusual to happen to people my age, but I dealt with them in an unhealthy way. So tonight you're going to get a snapshot of a younger Joe from many years ago. Let's go back to grade 4. The first bomb went off. It was my eyesight. I was always squinting my eyes. I could barely read what was on the chalkboard. I couldn't read signs that were far away. The optometrist said that I was nearsighted. I had trouble focusing on distant objects. So my dad and I went shopping for glasses. Within minutes of being at the optical lens store, my dad discovered the discount rack. So I got hooked up with a pair of gray, huge, metal-rimmed glasses. So I was going to bring them in today to show everybody, but I'm fairly certain that when I got new glasses, the old ones got smashed into a million pieces with a hammer. On a side note, I highly recommend destructive therapy. So I never quite adjusted the glasses. I was the only one in my class who had them. And it didn't help that the glasses made me look like I was living in the 1950s. But eventually, around 7th grade, I got a new pair, and I finally started to adjust my glasses. But then, just a year later, bomb number 2 hit. This time it was on my face, and it was acne. And it was bad. My whole face was dominated by yellow and red bumps. So eventually I adjusted to my glasses, but with acne I could never adjust because my face was a constantly changing landscape. Every morning when I looked into the mirror, I would be a different person because new mountains came up and old ones went down. No over-the-counter medication could tame it. The doctor prescribed medication made my face as dry as a desert, but it didn't work either. I had so many pimples that once I fell asleep in the library, and when I woke up, a blind man was reading my face. The poor physical appearance from my acne did more harm to my self-confidence than it did to my face. The last bomb came down in grade 9. My parents had good news. They were going to spend some money on me for some dental work. I would have perfect teeth in 3 years. But in the meantime, I'd have to carry around a pound of metal hardware in my mouth. Of course, I'd have braces. Luckily, no headgear or anything like that. Originally, I didn't want to have braces, but my self-confidence was already so low from the acne and the ugly glasses that I thought, sure, why not? Maybe in the future I'll look better. And the only good thing was that I didn't have to use the fridge anymore because I could carry all the food in my braces. So braces, acne, and my glasses were all explosions that obliterated my self-confidence into so many tiny fragments that it would take an aircraft reconstruction crew to piece it all back together. Only now am I trying to make sense of the situation. I didn't go through any traumatizing experiences. I wasn't singled out or picked on or bullied. I mainly just kept to myself and my small group of friends, which I'm a fairly independent person, so that was okay. I wasn't going through anything too unusual or rare for a person my age. By the time I got to high school, probably 1 out of every 4 or 5 people had glasses. Maybe a dozen people had braces, and of course every teenager has had acne at some point in their life. But why did these 3 events impact me so profoundly? The answer was that I didn't know. I don't really have an especially great memory. Maybe I'm repressing some memories. But the point was that I'm not going to linger on my past. I'm going to focus on the future, and I'm going to try to reassemble what was my self-esteem into something even greater than it was before. So luckily for me, big changes happened at the end of high school. At the end of grade 11, I had a job, I had some money, so I bought contact lenses, started using those. 6 months later, my braces came out for good. They're never going back again. And last year, I visited the dermatologist in town, and after 4 years of moderate to severe acne, it was gone in 4 months.
Wow.
But the medication was pretty bad. So there are a few steps I took to try to fix my self-confidence. So of course I used to be the outcast with the braces and the acne and the glasses. So I've tried to rebuild that by working on my body, exercise, stuff like that. But I've also created an ego wall. Now a lot of people might not know what an ego wall is, but if you've been to the doctor or to some other professional, you've probably seen his or her ego wall. They have one wall in their office, and it's littered with certificates and diplomas and other tokens of academic achievements. The sheer number of items implicitly speaks to you and speaks to their superior skill or intelligence of the professional who's earned them. The sheer number of items and the outward display mirrors and reflects the professional's perception of themselves or their ego. So I didn't want to show off. I don't want to be pompous or become a snob. So I don't show it to everybody. I don't have like a big trophy cabinet by my front door and show it to everybody who comes in. Instead, I have on the back of my door in my bedroom, you'll find I have taped up all my university grades, all my lifeguarding certificates, even my Toastmaster ribbons. Just little stuff that reminds me of my success every night as I close my door. And right before I turn off the light, I can glance up and see everything I've accomplished. And that really helps to rebuild my self-confidence. So there are many ways to help improve your self-confidence. A few months ago, Dan talked about the power of positive self-talk. Last week, Amanda talked about getting a lifestyle coach. And today I'm talking about making yourself an ego wall. So find a strategy that works for you. No two people are the same. Anybody can overcome low self-esteem. It's your chairperson.